Time now, with 3 days to go before Sunday's first round of the French presidential election, for Campaign Beat. We say hello to Charles Pellegrin.
Hi, François.
We've been talking about a lot, and we'll be talking about it later in the France 24 debate, how traditional left versus right fault lines don't apply in this election. One of the fault lines that is noticeable, that is a real distinguisher, is the European Union.
Absolutely. It's a central question in this election. Some candidates like Marine Le Pen, Jean-Luc Mélenchon, and François Asselineau, who are outspoken critics of Brussels, are asking the question, is France's membership in the European Union taking away from its sovereignty, or do the French now have less of an ability to govern themselves? Our reporter Luc Schrago went to a Marine Le Pen rally in Paris this week and asked National Front supporters how they feel about the European Union.
In the end, we lost a lot of things. Purchasing power, for instance, because of the euro. Her main objective is to leave the EU and the euro. We're now prisoners of the euro and Europe, and it was supposed to be the opposite.
If the French are the ones who choose, whether I agree or disagree with the leaders, it's the majority who chooses, so I accept it. But when it's the technocrats who decide what our laws are going to be, then I disagree.
Her priority isn't leaving Europe. She wants to negotiate. She wants a negotiation between Brussels and France to discuss our freedom and to reclaim our sovereignty and our borders.
So that's Marine Le Pen supporters, but François Fillon and Macron, however, are more pro-EU, especially the leader of the En Marche movement. He claims that France is actually stronger as part of the Union and within the free trade area that the EU provides. For some international observers, like Lawrence Lessig, the law professor at Harvard, Macron represents an opportunity for France to choose a different path than Brexit for the UK or Donald Trump in the US.
Well, I think it could be the next domino, but if it doesn't fall, it will be a reason to be reassured that this destructive populism is not a virus spreading across all democracies. So I'm hopeful that we can find a reason to see France as a stop to this process that I think has affected too much of the world.
All right, and we've been looking into how the French stand, how the French voters stand on the EU.
Absolutely. Thanks to our partnership with Vox Pop Labs, we were able to collect data on over 40,000 people who participated in the Vote Compass tool on our app for this election between April 5th and April 18th. And to this statement, France should hold a referendum on its European Union membership. Here's what voters responded. 21% of respondents say they strongly agree with this statement, and another 28% say they agree somewhat. That means that 49%, very close to half, of the people who responded either strongly agree or agree somewhat that a referendum should happen. For those who disagree or disagree strongly with the idea of a Frexit referendum, that number is 38%. Well, to help us sift through more of that data, we're joined on the line by Howard Cohen, the election analyst at Vox Pop Labs. Howard, what's your interpretation of these numbers? To repeat, 49% of respondents say they want a referendum on France's membership in the European Union.
Well, that's right, Charles. This shouldn't necessarily come as a surprise. We've seen that Le Pen has been gaining traction, gaining momentum on that very policy platform throughout the election cycle. But the real issue is whether voters, when they go to the ballot box on April 23rd, are they actually going to make this Frexit issue a decisive question for them in their minds? And we really have to analyze what are the issues of top priority to the French electorate. Well, they are immigration, unemployment, and the economy. But those three policy platforms are all intertwined with this Frexit debate. So it's very possible that the issue of holding a referendum on EU membership could be a decisive one as the French electorate goes to the ballot on April 23rd.
Could you tell us more about how the different candidates, the supporters, feel about Frexit, about this issue?
What we see is that both Le Pen and Mélenchon are in favor of holding a referendum on EU membership, but their supporters, base of their supporters very much differ in terms of their level of support on that issue. So we see that about 91% of Le Pen supporters are in favor of holding a referendum on EU membership. And this is simply because Le Pen has been campaigning on the issue of closing off, having less immigrants come into France, of adopting more protectionist policies, and overall of putting France before its neighbors. On the other hand, what we see is that Mélenchon supporters, only 59% of them are in favor of holding a referendum on EU membership. And it may be possible that some of Mélenchon's base are overlooking the question of EU membership and of Frexit because they're more interested in perhaps his more socially progressive policies, like taxing the rich and helping the poor. And as a result, that might explain the discrepancy between Le Pen and Mélenchon supporters on this issue. When we look at Macron and Hamon, both candidates are against holding a referendum on EU membership, as are their supporters. Meanwhile, Fillon supporters do not have a clear consensus on this issue.
All right, if we were going to take a step back a little bit, if we were to make a comparison with Brexit in the UK, data showed that Brexit supporters were somewhat less educated and informed voters. Is this true of Frexit supporters as well?
Well, certainly when we look back at Brexit, we know that the second most Googled word after that referendum was, "What is the EU?" And so definitely a lack of education and information may have played a role in what happened in the UK. When we look at France, we see that similar issues are likely at play. Around 55% of people who have an education or who have gone to university are against holding a referendum on EU membership. And we also see that 44% of people who do not follow the news at all are in favor of holding a referendum on EU membership. Certainly education and information and your level of being informed plays a role in this Frexit debate. But one thing that's worth noting is that in the aftermath of Brexit, people became more and more aware of what it means to be a part of the EU. And so it's very possible that in a post-Brexit era, people in France are more knowledgeable on this issue, and that very well may have an impact on the way things unfold in this debate.
Well, Howard Cohen, thank you very much for all those insights on that data you got from the Vote Compass there. Actually, talking about the Vote Compass, it's a tool that we got in partnership with Vox Pop Labs on France 24 on our website. You can have a look. It's very accurate. It kind of matches your personal beliefs with that of the candidate over quite a few people have participated at this point, and I invite you to do the same. Back to you, François.
Yeah, and we'll be speaking with campaigners ahead of Sunday's vote in the France 24 debate, and we'll be asking them how they feel about the European Union. Charles Belgrand, many thanks for that.